Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Crosscurrent. Today I'm giving you a complete beginner's guide to Slay the Spire. Now, Slay the Spire was released in 2019, but I had gotten the game prior to that. It's an amazing card game where you go through a dungeon, 3 dungeons to be exact, and the enemies get tougher. You build some supplies, it's a deck builder, you have potions, you have relics, you have a bunch of different mechanics, you have funny dialogue, and you have choices for which path you take. Now, to get started, looking at the main menu screen, top left, you can have your main game and you can have separate other games if you want to start over. I wouldn't suggest that because there's literally no reason to unless you're stat padding, which it's a single player game. So I don't know why you'd want to do that. Now, when you guys first have the game and play, you'll only have the standard option. Once you finish standard, even if you lose on the first battle, you'll then get daily climb to open. Once that opens, you can play that and it'll open up the custom game option. Custom games, though, you cannot get rewards in game, progress throughout the game further, or get Steam achievements to my knowledge. You might get a quick Steam achievement for doing a custom game, though. Now, when it comes to Compendium, that also opens up after your first game because you actually have collections. So this shows all the potions that you've gotten over the time you've been playing the game, relics, and cards. I'll get more into what all those are once I get into the play mode. Statistics, this is kind of shows all the stuff you've gotten, achievements, overall statistics for like wins, deaths, floors climbed, playtime, etc. All that stuff. I played a decent amount of the game. Leaderboards, this is between, typically I look at this just between me and my friends, so it gives a multiplayer idea to it. Now, I do think it stacks up over time between all the characters you've ever done with in this game. Unless you look at best win streak or fastest victory, which if you played in the past, like, I don't know, a couple years before this, like before 2019, they did reset the statistics for some reason. I'm not sure why. You had to re-earn everything. It was a pain in the butt. I would not suggest them doing that again, or they might lose more of their community. But that had happened at one time. You can also check your run history, all the stuff you got, your past decks. Wow, they even have the dates. That's crazy. Crazy. But yeah. Alright. It also has patch notes, settings I don't really mess with. If you do have a problem loading into the game, there is a troubleshoot version, which I do have on Steam. If you go to the workshop, I suggest using that and booting up like that. I believe is a problem with old Windows 10. It should be fixed now, though. But let's hop into play real quick. Standard. So the options that you're going to have is just going to be Ironclad. If you played your first game, you will then have the Silent as an option as well. The Silent is an all-out attack type character. Ironclad is much more based around defense and has a lot more survival to it. The defect, if you ever get to that character, is one that's kind of like a mage in Magic the Gathering, someone that focuses on control and spells, but doesn't have a lot of defense and doesn't have a lot of physical strength. You can build that way, but it's not advised. This is a character I am best with, though. And the Watcher is the newest one. It's just a unique character that gives you a lot of different options. That's about all I can say, really. Well, yeah, Ascension, when you see that says it down here, that says that because I have already beaten the game 7 times, and I can go over certain levels to improve the difficulty and just have more bragging rights. Or choose Ironclad. Also, setting seed. It doesn't suggest it because leaderboards and achievements are disabled with it, and I'm not sure if this messes with you actually getting rewards when you eventually end up dying or winning the game. So we'll hit Ironclad and Bark. Start of the game. Just gives you a brief intro talking to some whale dude. Now, the first time you play, it won't give you these options because you technically didn't even make it to the first floor. Depending on how well you do, you will have these 2 options, and then maybe a third, maybe a 4th option, depending upon how far you progressed within the game. Just because I'm going to keep this easy for you, we'll go with the remove a card from the deck. That's something you probably want to utilize with any deck builder game. You want to remove basic cards if you can. Now I'm going to remove a strike this time. Normally I wouldn't, but I found a lot of luck playing the defensive Ironclad. And now, okay, so you're looking at the map right now. You see that it has all these little spots right here. Fortunately, it gives you a brief message about what each of those means. Unknown, it's just basically like you're playing a role-playing game and they're flipping a coin or rolling a die to see what the heck happens. You're never going to be able to guess it. Merchant, you buy stuff from him. You can't sell anything, but you can buy stuff from him or remove a card from your deck for money. Treasure, it's just a chest. You open it up. They don't have mimics in this game, so it's just free rewards. Good rewards at that, which are typically relics that come up here. Relics being items that have a passive effect or sometimes a limited effect, depending upon what they are. You can click on them and they'll give you just an idea of what kind of relic it was: starter, basic, uncommon, rare, legendary, etc. What it does, and then it'll quote. You can get those throughout the game. You get them from defeating elites, from killing bosses, or from treasures. Sometimes you get them from random question mark areas as well. It's all based upon luck. Rest areas, you can rest to regain 30% of your health, or you can smith to upgrade one of the cards you have in your deck. Now, sometimes you get additional abilities, or you have buffed abilities there because of certain relics you have. Enemies and elites. Enemies are just basic enemies who face. Elites are more powerful enemies with more crazy abilities, but better rewards. For the longest time, I tried to avoid elites, but actually, if you learn the game well enough, you want to go through the elites so you can get more relics, get better potions, get better cards, and just fly through the bosses rather than spending too much time just avoiding elites. Alright, so we're just going to start off right. Well, I don't really want to hit a merchant early game because most of the stuff I want will cost a lot more than that. We'll start here, give some options. So at the start of the game, you face some small enemies. They're nothing too crazy. As an Ironclad, you do gain 6 health at the end of each battle. So play it simple. Try not to lose more than 6 health if you can help it. If you ever do abandon the run, that means that you will not be able to come back. Be sure you hit save and quit, and that'll get you out of the game after your last battle. That's when it last saves it. Input settings will tell you all of the different key bindings you need to know. I've never used the numbers for the cards. I just feel like that's a little ridiculous. As well as other preferences that I also haven't found to be very important. So after every battle, it'll offer you gold and typically also a card to add to your deck. Now, at some point, you don't want to add a card to your deck because your deck is solid. If you have too many cards in your deck, that means that you're going to have a better chance to not get the exact sequence you want. Like, you want to get a well-oiled machine as your deck, so you can always get the same outcome and, upgrade a little bit. If you find something that lands perfectly in there, cool, go for it, but if you have what you want going for you, just stick with it and skip. Right now, we have no idea what we're going to do. We're just going to grab that. It's rare. It might help more later down the road. Now, these are power cards. There's multiple different types of cards. You saw the cards that gave me armor. Those are called skills. Typically, things that don't do attacks or that don't linger around for passive effects are skills. Attacks, obviously, they attack the enemy. They deal damage. Aggressive abilities, and these power abilities are passive ones with specific effects. Some of them are phenomenal. Other ones, unfortunately, they just kind of are here, and you just kind of hope that they make a difference. I'm going to grab Dark Embrace because I found that to be more useful than the other one that's more situational. Now you see that the enemy doesn't have an attack over their head. It has like some defensive ability, or it has like a swirly on it or something like that. That's typically your best moment to build up your powers, because you're not going to be really able to stop that unless you have a random potion or relic that can stop it. So, build up. Don't worry about defense because it's not going to attack you for damage. It's just going to use an ability instead. Cool. He's more powerful. Glad he got that damage in. Now, armor will always drop off unless there's some special ability to say otherwise. There are certain abilities that will give you armor at the end of the turn, so be sure, if you see armor, just hover over the enemy and you can see if it's going to last or if it's going to vanish. It's extremely important. And there's opening, finish the attack, move on. So normally I try to avoid the question mark rooms, but I don't have a whole lot of cards I want to upgrade, and I'm pretty good on health, so I don't need to go to the rest spot soon. So see what happens. Sometimes I can get extremely lucky. So right now, this is possibly the worst one. Possibly the worst one, because I get really unlucky with it. But since I don't have to worry about health as much, I'm going to try to find this relic. I got lucky. Normal enemies drop an additional card reward. That's phenomenal for finding what I need to find. If you guys want, I can make a guide later, just kind of putting a tier list for all the different relics, all the different potions, maybe all the different cards, and the builds for each character. I would love to do that for you guys, if you want me to. Now here's the thing with slimes, he says you see a split ability. So if a slime's about to hit you for a lot of damage or do something you don't want it to, bring it to half health, and it'll stop what it's doing, show a bunch of question marks over its head, and then it'll split into two separate ones, which, you know, you think that's worse, but at the same time, bigger slimes do more damage. This saves you time to build an attack, or to just set up a power. See, interrupted, question marks start popping up. Gives me an extra turn. I don't like cards like this if I can help it, because shuffling more... Well, okay, so right now this is phenomenal because days will be deleted at the end of the turn. It'll be exhausted, which works with my passive, but normally this is not a good idea because you'll fill your deck with cards that you cannot use, you cannot play, and it just floods your deck. Alright, so this game I'm probably going to use my potion at some point. Potions happen immediately and have immediate effects. Some of them last longer. It just kind of depends on the potion you have, though. Alright, so right now I notice that this guy is sleeping. I don't really want to... If I deal damage to him, he'll immediately wake up, and the turn after he'll get aggressive. So right now, I'm just removing a little bit of his armor, so he stays asleep for at least one more turn. The character gets a little scary. And unfortunately, this is not really what I want to see in the hand. Yeah, this could be pretty bad. Fortunately, the guy's still sleeping. Alright. Got a little bit of damage on it. Nothing crazy, but get the extra card next turn. Hopefully, will give me something good. Yeah, it's already going to attack for 18. Crap. But, vulnerable. Now, when you check that card, it shows that little fiery thing. That's energy. That's like your mana that you'd use within any other card game, so you can play more stuff. Okay, barely. Whew. When you would die, heal to 30% of max health instead of... And discard this potion. Phenomenal potion. Phenomenal potion. Whenever you use a potion, heal 5 HP. Cool. I haven't known there to be a maximum amount of relics. There might be, but it's a pretty big amount. About this time. Try out the power cards and see if I can make something new. Upgrade a card in them here. So typically if I want to upgrade a card, it's either going to be a power card or it's going to be something cost 0. Because if it's 0, I'll always use it. And if it's a power card, it'll always be taking an effect. But this, oof, that makes it cost 1 less. That's phenomenal. Or if it's something that gives me a permanent effect, like Spot Weakness does. I almost never use it on the basic defenses and strikes unless I have something to upgrade all that stuff. Or if it makes a cause zero, that also works. We'll go with this, though. So these seeds will always try to take your money. Even if they don't get past your armor, they'll still take your gold. And after 3 or 4 turns, they'll see a little swirly above their head, and they'll try to leave. You don't want that to happen, especially if you've been stockpiling gold. A lot of these relics, they're just weird. They're not exactly phenomenal, but they can be good. Whenever a card is exhausted, that seems to be the deck. Exhausting my cards, which is weird, to say the least. Okay, so right now, this card is phenomenal. That was perfect timing. Oh, luck was with me there. I'm gonna rest this time. So hopefully I can live against Hexaghost. Then I might draw a pile so I can destroy it on my turn. Wow, that's saving me a lot. Ouch. Alright, this battle's won. It's like a lot of self-burn cards. I'll take the feed though, just because I've been a little bad on health. Does HP draw a card? That sounds phenomenal. So this is one of those cards that you don't really know if you want to take or not, because you gain 1 extra mana at the start of every turn, but you can no longer rest at rest sites. It gives you a benefit for each combat, but you also don't like just screwing yourself like that. Like, I would be in trouble because I am bad with keeping my health up. So that rest right before the battle is what saved me. Or here, whenever you open a non-boss chest, obtain a curse. You also get 1 mana at the start of every turn. Sometimes you can't even avoid those chests, especially if it's a question mark room. So, cube. It's a pretty good one. Alright guys, I think that does it for this guide. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button. If you have a comment about this, please comment below. If you have a friend who could use this video, please share it with them. And it would really help me if you could drop a subscription to this channel. Really trying to move up in that sense. If not, perfectly fine, understand. But that being said, everyone, I'll see you next time.